If you were to look at Britain on a map today, you would be forgiven for thinking that its borders only encompass those of the British Isles. But if you look at the world as a whole, you will find that there are actually 14 overseas territories where the British government still hold powers. From Gibraltar at the entrance of the Mediterranean to the Falkland Islands in the South Atlantic. These are the last remaining possessions of Britain's once mighty empire. At the height of its territorial control a little over 100 years ago, the British Empire covered one quarter of the globe's landmass and ruled almost a third of the world's population. It was an empire on which the sun never set. But how did such a small island nation become the largest and most powerful empire the world has ever seen? This is the history of British Empire. The foundations of the British Empire were laid long before the state of Britain even formally existed. The dominant power in the British Isles throughout much of its history has been the Kingdom of England, with a well-developed economy and military force to match. England during the medieval and early modern period came to rule over the smaller independent kingdoms in Wales and parts of the Ireland. To the north, however, the kingdoms of Scotland remained a fiercely proud and independent nation, having bitterly and successfully resisted frequent invasions from its powerful southern neighbor. By the early 17th century, Elizabeth I of England had issued several trading and exploration commissions to English adventurers with the intention of exploring and colonizing new territories yet to be claimed by other European powers. The likes of Sir Francis Drake and Sir Martin Frobisher claimed many lands in the name of England, but these were not followed up with settlement. The first English colony established in North America at Roanoke Island in 1585 failed dramatically, with the colonists mysteriously disappearing never to be seen or heard from again. Elizabeth also granted several royal charters to joint stock companies established specifically for developing overseas trade. Companies such as the Levant Company, founded in 1592, and the East India Company, founded in 1600, were granted monopolies on all English trade to and from these areas. When Elizabeth I died in 1603, the throne of England passed to James VI of Scotland. Upon his ascension, James became the king of both Scotland and England through the union of the crowns. However, the two kingdoms remained distinct and were ruled separately, as King James looked to build further on its predecessors' attempts to establish overseas colonies. These territories were to be ruled under one of three types of colonial structure: crown colonies, directly ruled by the monarch, administered by a royally appointed governor; charter colonies, ruled under a corporate charter, granting colonists more political liberty; proprietary colonies, governed by individuals, often heads of joint stock companies, though these later transitioned to crown colonies due to mismanagement. As important yet often overlooked development in England's overseas expansion was the plantation of Ulster, which saw Protestant settlers from Scotland and England transported to parts of Northern Ireland during James' reign. This model of organized colonization would form the blueprint for future English colonial expansion. Throughout the 16th century, England expanded its colonies in North America and the Caribbean, annexing territories like New York from the Dutch in 1665. The Royal African Company, founded in 1660, became a leading participant in the transatlantic slave trade, fueling England's mercantile success. Scotland's own colonial attempts, such as the disastrous Darien scheme in Panama 1698 to 700, ended in financial ruin. This failure pushed Scotland toward union with England, culminating in the Acts of Union in 1707, which united England and Scotland in the Kingdom of Great Britain. Over the 18th century, Britain's empire grew through wars like the War of the Spanish Succession, gaining Gibraltar and Minorca, and the 7 Years' War, securing Quebec, Florida, and Caribbean islands. The British East India Company expanded its control in India, particularly after the Battle of Plassey, 1757. The loss of the 13 American colonies after the Revolutionary War shifted Britain's focus to Asia, the Pacific, and Africa. Explorers like Captain James Cook mapped Australia and New Zealand, while Canada, Australia, and New Zealand became self governing dominions by the 19th century. The Napoleonic War solidified Britain's naval supremacy, and post war treaties granted territories like Malta, Mauritius, and the Cape Colony. The abolition of the slave trade and slavery itself marked moral shifts, though economic exploitation continued. The 19th century scramble for Africa saw Britain dominate regions from Egypt to South Africa, India ruled by the East India Company until the 1857 Sepoy Rebellion became the jewel in the crown of direct British rule. World War I, 1914 to 1918, drained Britain's resources, and the interwar period saw dominions like Canada and Australia gain autonomy. Post-World War II, decolonization accelerated, with colonies across Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean gaining independence. The handover of Hong Kong to China in 1997 symbolized the entire's end. Today, 14 overseas territories remain under British sovereignty, and the Commonwealth preserves cultural ties. The legacy of the British Empire through language, law, and global influence endures even as modern British grapple with its imperial past.